Welcome to video series on acid-base balance. This video is on respiratory renal regulation. Now this is the pictorial representation of the respiratory regulation inside our body. Now this erythrocyte represents the capillary network at the level of peripheral cell present on the written on the left side, and on the right side this represents the capillary network of erythrocytes at the level of lungs. So when we inspire, the inspired air contain oxygen. This oxygen is taken up by hemoglobin, which becomes oxyhemoglobin. Now this transports the oxygen to the peripheral tissues, and the free hemoglobin is released inside the erythrocytes at the level of peripheral tissue. Now the metabolism of the peripheral tissue releases carbon dioxide. This is taken up by the erythrocytes at the level of peripheral tissue, and this carbon dioxide condenses with water to form carbonic acid, which dissociates as H plus ion and bicarbonate ion. Now this hemoglobin buffers this H plus ion, and it gets converted to deoxyhemoglobin. Now, and what is the fate of this bicarbonate ion? This moves out of the RBC into the plasma because bicarbonate is a major plasma buffer. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality, chloride ion moves inside the erythrocytes at the level of the peripheral tissue. This is known as chloride shift. Now what happens to the capillary network at the level of lungs? There occurs reversal of the chloride shift. Chloride ion moves out and the bicarbonate ion moves inside the erythrocytes at the level of lungs. Now this deoxyhemoglobin that is present inside the erythrocytes dissociate as H plus ion and free hemoglobin. Now this H plus ion combine with the bicarbonate ion to form carbonic acid, and this dissociates as water and carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is expelled. Now the free hemoglobin combines with the oxygen that is present in the inspired air, and it gets converted to oxyhemoglobin. So this is how the respiratory regulation occurs, and this is mainly achieved by changing the concentration of bicarbonic acid or partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Now the rate of respiration is under the control of chemoreceptors, which are present in the respiratory centers, and these chemoreceptors are highly sensitive to changes in the pH of the blood. When the blood pH falls as an acidosis, there occurs a compensatory mechanism of hyperventilation, and when the pH increases as an alkalosis, there occurs the compensatory mechanism of hypoventilation. Now this respiratory regulation responds quickly but cannot continue for long time. Now this is taken over by kidneys, and they bring about the renal regulation of pH. Now kidneys, they normal urine pH is 5 to 6. Now the urine pH can go as low as 4.5 and as high as 9.8 in order to regulate our blood pH. There are 4 different mechanisms by which our renal system regulates the pH. Let us try to understand each one of this in detail. The metabolic process in the renal tubular cell produces carbon dioxide, which will condense with water under the influence of carbonic anhydrase to form carbonic acid, and this dissociates as H plus ion and bicarbonate ion. Now this H plus ion gets excreted at the level of PCT, and this bicarbonate ion is reabsorbed back into the circulation. So this is the first mechanism of regulation of pH by our kidneys: excretion of hydrogen ion and generation of bicarbonate ion at the level of PCT. The second one is the sodium bicarbonate is freely filtered by the glomerulus into the lumen, and this dissociates as sodium ion, which is reabsorbed back into the circulation, and this bicarbonate ion combines with the H plus ion that are secreted to form carbonic acid, which dissociates as carbon dioxide and water, and this carbon dioxide and water is taken up by the renal tubular cells to form carbonic acid, which dissociates as bicarbonate ion and H plus ion. This bicarbonate is reabsorbed. So this is the second mechanism, also known as reclamation of bicarbonate or reabsorption of bicarbonate, operating at the level of proximal convoluted tubule. The third one is the excretion of titrable acid. So disodium monohydrogen phosphate is freely filtered into the lumen of the kidney, and this dissociates as sodium ion and monosodium monohydrogen phosphate. This sodium ion is reabsorbed back into the circulation, and this monosodium monohydrogen phosphate in turn combined with the secreted hydrogen ion to form acid phosphate, and this gets excreted. So this is excretion of titrable acid operating at the level of DCT. The last one is excretion of ammonium ion at DCT and collecting tubule. So glutamine is acted upon by glutaminase enzyme at the level of DCT and convoluted tubule to form glutamate and ammonia. So this ammonium ion is released into the lumen, and this combines with H plus ion that are secreted into the lumen and forms ammonium ion, and this gets excreted. So these are the four different mechanisms by which our kidneys regulate the pH, and these include excretion of hydrogen ion, excretion of titratable acid, excretion of ammonium ion, and reabsorption or reclamation of carbonate. So this was all about respiratory and renal regulation. Thank you. Next video will be on metabolic acidosis.